Hello and welcome to Void Electronics. In the previous video I demonstrated how to bias a CRT and get a dot on the screen, and in today's video we're taking things a step further by showing you how to turn that dot into a video monitor. So let's get started. At the input we have this Sony video camera that provides composite video. That composite video signal goes into this sync separator board that I designed, that amplifies the video signal and puts it out on this BNC connector, and that also generates the vertical and horizontal deflection ramps and puts them out on these two BNC connectors. This project was intended for turning an oscilloscope into a video monitor, and this is our starting point for today. The issue with this board is that it was only meant to work with oscilloscopes like this one, and the oscilloscope has an amplifier for every single output that's produced by that board basically. So it amplifies the X signal, the Y signal, and also the Z signal, which is the brightness. To turn that into a standalone project, first of all we need to bias the CRT, and this was presented in the previous video. And then we no longer have the luxury of the internal amplifiers of the oscilloscope, so we have to build our own video amplifier and deflection amplifiers in order to get a picture onto this CRT. That's because the CRT needs high amplitudes in order to produce such a picture. Fortunately, I already have the video amplifier, and that's because I wanted to make my project compatible with the Tektronix vacuum tube oscilloscope, the 515A to be precise. This was also presented in a different video. So I will just reuse the video amplifier for that project. This amplifier was needed because on that scope you don't have a video amplifier, instead you're driving the cathode directly, so you need an amplitude of 50 volts peak to peak or maybe more in order to get a picture onto the CRT. Since we have a similar task today, we can easily reuse it. And finally, most of the effort that was put into this project went into this. This is the deflection amplifier. I had a look online, I didn't like any of the designs that I could find, so I basically made my own. So now let's take things step by step and present what you need in order to get a picture onto the CRT. First up, the sync separator. To understand this circuit, you first need to know what analog video signal looks like, so we're going to need this. This is what the composite video signal looks like. You can see a repeating pattern here at low frequency, and each of these repeating pattern is basically a field. It's not really a frame because analog video sends in the frames into fields. So you have one field containing of the even lines, meaning line 1, 3, 5, 7, and then you have an odd field which contains lines 2, 4, 6 and so on, and they are interleaved like so. And we have 50 fields per second, and here you can see one field. Now if you make the time base a lot faster, you will notice another repeating pattern, and this pattern is at a different rate. This is the horizontal rate, and every single pattern that you can see right here is one line of video. So what we need out of our circuit is first of all some sync pulses. We need sync pulses for every single field for the vertical rate, and then we need sync pulses for every single line for the horizontal rate. So we need an IC that separates these sync pulses out of this complex video signal. Here's the schematic of the sync separator. It was presented extensively in a different video, so I will just quickly go through it over again. So it's based on this LM1881 sync separator IC. This outputs vertical sync pulses and horizontal sync pulses, and these are used for creating ramps that are in sync with the video signal. And those ramps will be used as deflection signals for an X and Y display. So here's how we do that. First of all, we have to build some current sources here, and those current sources basically charge these capacitors at a constant current, and this produces a ramp. What happens here is that in order to get a sawtooth out of this ramp, you have to short out the capacitor every once in a while, and this is what these transistors do right here. And when do you think they short it out? Well, of course they short out the capacitor when a sync pulse comes in. And this way we get some sawtooths that are in sync with a video signal input. And then those signals basically are coupled to those BNC connectors that you saw before. Apart from that, we have a video amplifier. It's based on a really fast op amp, and it also introduces some offset here on purpose, and this is used to either adjust the brightness or to bias another amplifier that comes after this one. And of course we also have a contrast adjustment, which is basically the amplitude of the video signal. And that's all that the sync separator board does. Here's the output of the sync separator board. With this time base we are synchronized onto the line rate of the video signal, and as you can see we have a sawtooth that is synchronized to our video signal. So we have one sweep per every single line. And we can also have a look at the vertical. Here this time base is synchronized to the vertical rate, and as you can see we have another sawtooth which is in sync with the vertical, which is much slower. And on this oscilloscope we can see them both at the same time. As you can see, the output of the horizontal goes up because we want to sweep from left to right. However, the output of the vertical goes down because we want to sweep top to bottom. This is conventionally how a raster scan works. Now let's move on to the video amplifier. Let me show you what the video amplifier schematic looks like. It's based on a really nice IC that was meant to drive CRTs in CRT TVs, and in order to integrate that you need a relatively high voltage power supply. So the power supply consists of a flyback converter which takes 9 volts at the input and provides 100 volts in order to power the final video amplifier. Now let's have a look at the video amplifier. This consists of a few op amps, once again pretty high speed op amps in order to do this. Some frequency compensation, and we also have a bias adjustment because this IC requires around 4 volts at the input in order to get around 50 volts of bias at the output. So you have to bias it this way. It's powered from 100 volts as I said, and this way you get a really high bandwidth, high voltage amplifier that's perfect for driving a CRT. All thanks to this really nice TDA6108 chip. And finally, let's talk about the deflection amplifier. Before designing the deflection amplifier, we have to talk about the specifications. So we have 5 volts peak to peak at the input, and we need to amplify that quite a lot. How much do we have to amplify it? Well, that's based on the datasheet of the CRT. So we have a vertical sensitivity of 36 volts per centimeter, and we know that the diameter of the tube is 6 centimeters, which gives us 216 volts of differential voltage in order to get full deflection. That's quite a lot. I'm not sure if we will be able to cover the entire screen. For the horizontal, we have a different sensitivity of 56 volts per centimeter. Once again, the tube has a diameter of 6 centimeters, which gives us 336 volts of differential voltage for full deflection. Based on these specs, I decided to use the same amplifier IC that was used for the video amplifier, the TDA6108. This is already a high voltage, high bandwidth amplifier, so it's perfect for the task. However, we need differential output, and we need to generate that out of a single-ended input, and we also need to bias the deflection plates at 500 volts. So, in order to do this, I decided to use this amplifier, which will stay at around 50 volts here at the output. Couple that output with a capacitor into the deflection plates, and then bias the deflection plates up to 500 volts using some pull-up resistors basically. And this is how you can use a relatively low voltage amplifier and couple the deflection signals all the way up to 500 volts. The only disadvantage of this is that it's AC coupled, so you cannot keep the dot permanently at the edge of the CRT, and you cannot draw anything that's basically off-center because the capacitors will simply cancel out the DC offset of the signal. Which is not nice, but we can work with that. In terms of the schematic, this is what I came up with. It may look intimidating at first, especially if you think about the fact that this is just the horizontal or the vertical, so you need 2 of these, but actually it's a pretty simple circuit. Let me explain. First of all, we need a buffer, and this is an emitter follower. We need an input resistor because without it this oscillates like crazy, and with this in place it works really nicely, and it just tracks the inputs right here in the emitter. We do this because we cannot draw too much current out of the ramp generators, because if you draw current out of a constant current source, there isn't much current left to charge the capacitor, so you just kill the circuit. That's why we have this here. And the output of this goes into a potentiometer that adjusts the size. After that, we AC couple this signal into this amplifier right here, which is basically a phase inverter. This one has a trimmer resistor for bias adjustment, and if it's biased properly, then we get an in-phase signal and an out-of-phase signal out of it. How we can do that? Well, that's pretty easy. If you couple a signal into the base and you couple the output out of the collector, you basically get a common emitter amplifier which is inverting. However, if you couple a signal out of the emitter, this is almost like an emitter follower, so you get an in-phase signal. Then each of these signals are buffered by an op-amp. The gain is just 1 here, however the op-amp adds an offset, and this is critical for making the output amplifier work. That's because the output amplifier needs around 4 volts at the input in order to work, so you need to adjust this bias adjustment to around 4 volts in order for this to work. Of course, this signal also has a DC offset, so one more reason to have this in place is to kind of cancel out this DC offset right here and give this amplifier 4 volts. We do the same thing for the other branch, of course, and then, as I said, the outputs of the power amplifiers are AC coupled into the deflection plates. The deflection plates are biased at 500 volts using these resistors. And that's about it. Here's what the implemented circuit looks like. Everything that you saw on paper is implemented twice, of course, once for the horizontal and once for the vertical. So we have BNC inputs, here's one of the buffers, here's the other buffer or emitter follower, here's one phase inverter and the other phase inverter, and here are the adjustments for those. So this is horizontal size, horizontal bias for the phase inverter, vertical size, vertical bias for the phase inverter, and then the horizontal goes into this op-amp right here. Once again, the in-phase and the out-of-phase signal have their own bias adjustments. We adjust this for 4 volts at the outputs. We have the same thing for the vertical, and then we have 2 of these TDA6108 ICs, one for the horizontal and one for the vertical. They all have 3 sections, and one section of each IC is actually not used. The op-amps are coupled straight into the inputs of these ICs, and the outputs are AC coupled into the deflection plates. And they are powered by the flyback converter of the video amplifier, which was presented earlier. Here's the input to our phase inverter, and this is what the outputs look like. As you can see, this output distorts, which means that we need to adjust the bias a little bit. There we go, now the signals are perfectly symmetrical. And now we have to bias the output amplifier. Since it's powered at 100 volts, we need to bias it for 50 volts at the output. We repeat the same thing for all 4 outputs, and that's it, we have a perfectly biased amplifier. And finally, let's have a look at the outputs of our deflection amplifier. This is the vertical. As you can see, it's perfectly symmetrical. We are at 100 volts per division, and I would estimate we get around 60 volts peak to peak on each channel, which means that we are driving the amplifiers pretty hard, but they work. Let's have a look at the horizontal as well. As you can see, once again it's perfectly symmetrical. Once again we have around 60 volts peak to peak for each channel, so I would say it works perfectly. And now get ready to see the final result. 3, 2, 1, fire! And there we go. This is what we could get out of this thing. It's not exactly 4K, but I love it. I think it was a really fun project, and it was definitely a really nice analog electronics exercise and lesson, let's say. Before ending this video, I'm pretty sure that you want to see some test patterns, so since I have a vintage test pattern generator, let's have a look at some of that. How about some bars to start with? Oh, nice. So yeah, we have some contrast there, not too much, but That's pretty much all that we can get out of it. The image is also not very bright in person, but I don't think this CRT can do much more than this. Okay, we have horizontal bars as well, some horizontal lines, vertical lines. Okay, crosshatch, the circle, I like it. It's pretty round for something so sketchy. Here's a chessboard. Okay, I would say it's decent. And that's pretty much all that this test pattern generator can do. And that's about it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in more content related to electronics and programming, please subscribe to this channel because there is more content like this on the way. Don't forget you can support me by joining me on YouTube, and if you're interested in interacting with more people who are also into electronics, you can join the Discord server. You can find all my social media, including the Discord server, on voidelectronics.com. That's all for now. Bye.